I can see it
There we
now.
go.
His hands are up. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? Here we
Now
go.
I
We
got to
did
turn
it.
the volume back up. So,
We had to flip it.
dude, what did it take us 10 minutes just to get a live going?
Man, hey, put me in a weight room and I'll figure that out like this.
It's crazy. So now I got to figure out how to get more volume, though, because now I can barely hear you on my end. But
Yeah, I hear
whatever.
you clear. Everything's clear, clean, man. I appreciate you doing this. And I heard you kind of talking a little bit about the event. And man, I just, Scott, it's, we did this thing this morning on WFMZ with Hasael and
I see
just an
that
overwhelming
was
feeling.
awesome.
He really is. He's always been in my corner. He's always supported everything that we've ever done. And just an overwhelming feeling of gratitude and appreciation today, just because of the love, the respect, and just everyone just showing up, man. It's a little, you know, as servant leaders, and I know you can attest to this, being in a leadership position, we don't ask for stuff. Like we're constantly giving, we're constantly doing, we're constantly going. But when people do things for us, it's a little awkward. Um, and I had a good conversation with my brother Mark Forelli out in Pittsburgh today. He was like, it's almost illogical for us not to accept the giving because we're you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't even make sense, but it's such a good thing, man. And I know that we are really going to change people's lives with this event. There's no question about it.
It it gets crazy when you start doing your own events, and I've spoke at events, so I know you get that too. It's part of the exciting path of personal and professional development. Like if I go back 10 years, I never would have expected I was on a stage talking to a bunch of podcasters or speaking at a HVAC industry event or like you get this. It's like, okay, well, fast forward 10 years later, and some poor schmo from Lehigh Valley, Allentown, is doing things at a different level than he ever planned on
Yeah,
doing. And you and I are basically on the same page there.
for sure. It's the crazy part is like we've seen this in our head. Like
Hmm.
I've seen this. Like I've been coaching people for well over 25 years, like just helping people. And when I say coaching, I'm coming into that title of a coach because, you know, I remember my first Instagram handle was Modrich Motivation. And I always used to say, I want to motivate people. And I'm like, now it's like, no, I don't want to motivate you because motivation's bullshit. We all know that. It comes and goes. And then I was like, I want to inspire people because I want you to take action. And I'm even past that point. It's like, I want to elevate you.
Yeah.
I want to get you up. Like, I want to take you from where you're at and lift you, like elevate you, get you up.
Dude, I love where you just flipped the switch there from motivation to inspiration because I learned the same thing. Like when I created my brand, Live the Fuel, it was because I went from like corporate monkey to federal firefighter out west fighting the wildfires and then came back and it was like, oh, I need my own acronym. And but then I started a Facebook page. So you did Instagram, but years ago I was sharing firefighting photos on Facebook and then disappearing for a month into the mountains. And then I come back and upload like another 200 photos and people are like, what the hell? I was born in Jersey and grew up on a farm and I'm out west. And like people are like, what are you doing? But
What
I
are you
was gone
doing?
for a month and then I'd upload photos again. And, and I was like, I'm going to create my own motivational page. I want to motivate people.
Right.
And then you realize it's not the motivation is short term, the
Hmm.
inspiration is long term. And there's
Yeah.
that mindset development, right? And that then channels you into personal and professional development. And there's people, even my own wife, she doesn't understand me sometimes, and I love her. And she's a doctor, animals and everything else. She's amazing. And then I'm the guy I'm investing time and money over the years in personal and professional development because you got to keep leveling up.
Yeah.
And then you and I have been so busy. And then I finally watched one of your live feeds this week, and I ran into you. I forget how many months ago we were at
Hmm.
because I've written multiple articles for Network Magazine,
Hmm.
and it's like I ran into you there, and then we got to connect up, we got to do a podcast, and then we both got busy, and then I'm watching your feed, and I was like, dude, he's got an event this weekend.
Yeah.
And
And
then
we
I
live
saw
right
the
down the
post about
street from each other.
WFMZ, and I was like, yo, I gotta call Brad, and then I didn't have your number, so I had to DM you.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll take the DM. I'll take that DM any day.
Well, you did say DM you, so I
Yeah,
DM.
yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah.
so
And
rewind 10 years ago, you and I would not be saying, "Hey, man, could you DM me?"
no,
But
not
that's
at
part of the
all.
hustle. Is That's part of that growth, that development, that mindset. I mean, what I'm excited about you is like, dude, he's running a local event. I've I've gone to professional development events in California, Arizona, Colorado, New York. It's like I've gone all over the place. And I was like, and then a good buddy of mine, really high level entrepreneurial podcaster, Justin Schenk from Reading, Pennsylvania. It was last year before. His podcast is called Growth Now Movement. So he ran a Growth Now event in Reading because he wanted to give back to the local Pennsylvania Reading area. And I was like, I thought of him as soon as I saw this, and I was like, yo, if my chunk of thousands of friends and connections on here could see this, and if maybe we can generate a little bit more support, a little bit more interest, because this is also benefiting a charitable effort.
Hmm.
And again, I let you tell your story, but I was like, yo, we got to go live. If I get you 5 more people or 50 more people, like let's help people together.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And if we get one more person, I'm happy. And I mean that. Of course, I want the 50. I mean, I think, overachievers do. But I think, bro, what you just said is so relevant to this event because, like you, I go to St. Louis, I've been to Florida. We travel all over at these personal development events. And I've just been very blessed. Who I think I've learned from three of the best personal development performance coaches. I mean, you see this sign up behind me.
Oh, I know
This is
that logo.
yeah, from Ed Milet and Andy Frisella, Ben Newman. This past weekend I got a chance to be with and USA Today. They came out with their top 5 performance coaches. I was with 3 of those 5 this weekend: Ed Milet, Tim Grover, and Ben Newman, all this weekend. And we travel to these places, but nothing's happening here in
Yeah.
Allentown, right? I remember the one time I went to one of my events. We went to go do something with a couple of my RSA brothers. No, actually, it was my Warriors for Christ brothers. And when I got home, I remember my wife was just like, what the hell are you doing in another city? Like, why aren't you doing something here? Like, she kicked me right in my nuts. Like, I needed it. Like, I needed to hear it. She was like, why are you doing it in that town? Why aren't you doing it in this town? And that was like the first time, like, I started to get this thing rolling in my head. Like, no one's doing anything here in the Lehigh Valley.
And look how
And we're
much our valley has exploded and in
exploded.
population, success, and there's still people that are feeling kept down or below bar. And you and I grew up here.
Yeah,
Well, granted, I'm out of state, but I mean, right now I'll be back tomorrow night. But I was like, dude, what are we doing wrong? I mean,
right. We're not doing enough of this right
right.
here. Right.
And it made me feel guilty. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if I could just at least do a live with Brad, figure this out. Maybe we got some more, collaboration in the future. Because I was like, yo, yeah, what the heck?
Yeah.
We live here,
We live
and
here.
there's people struggling and trying
There
to
really is.
find their path. And I hate this term, trying to find their purpose. Well, guess what? You can find purpose in everything you do, but that's part of that mindset shift. And not everybody's ready to have that conversation yet.
Hmm.
I'll let you. Obviously, you'll probably be just chatting a lot about that at your event. So,
Yeah. And a
but
lot of that, it's about
yeah,
uniting. Like, we need to, like, we're stronger together.
yeah.
Like, that's as simple as that. We're stronger
Because
together.
I know you'll appreciate this. I started using this over the past couple of years in my podcast. It just popped in my head one day. I was like, dude, we're just all at a different place on the timeline. So that's part of the sharing the stories, whether it's on YouTube or via podcast or on Facebook. It's like, guys, you just have to hear enough stories and meet enough people and start taking those small steps and not the big leaps, and you'll progress down that timeline.
Yeah.
And then you realize, 5 years later, 10 years later, you're like, holy crap, I was there, but now look where I am. And I think that's part of the problem is people don't realize how close that timeline can be
Hmm.
and that progression.
It's the micro disciplines. Like,
Hmm.
I've been an advocate of this. I'm part of a company, and I know you know the company First Form Supplements, right? Andy's the owner and CEO. The president is Sal, and Sal has this thing that he's constantly kind of beating into our head. It's just one foot in front of the other, and people don't understand how important that you just put one foot in front of the other every day, even if it's the smallest step in the world. You take care of your health. Like for us, and I think this is where our common ground is because we're both huge advocates for our health and wellness and taking care of our body. And I know that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Right. It starts
people,
with
day in and day out. They're like, I don't understand how you have the energy to do what you do. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm connected with people like Brad and other weirdos that get that. Right.
Right.
But like, I had a meeting today. I was in an executive level meeting. They're like, oh yeah, I follow you online. And I was like, oh, well, thanks. And they're like, dude, you're weird. This came up in a CEIO level meeting. And I said, thank you.
Yeah.
And like, oh, no, it's not a negative thing. They're just like, we just don't understand you, but it's super cool working with you. And I say, cool. All right, as long as you're happy.
Right.
I don't mind.
But they recognized it.
Yeah.
Right. They recognized it, and they're watching. And this is, I think, one of the things, again, doing collaborations like this is there are so many people watching, but I think with today's day and age, especially with this little box, people have, their RASs are focusing on other things, and they're not focused on those things that are really going to help them. Or they play the compare game, like, oh, I can never do what Scott does. He was a firefighter. He does this.
Comparison is
takes
a
care. Killer.
It's a killer of mindset. It's a killer of heart. I've had to learn that over the years. Like, stop looking what everybody else is doing. Unless you're just looking to study, that's fine. You're looking to learn, maybe emulate, but do not dwell on that person's quote unquote success. You do not know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You got to put in your reps, right? Gym guys, fitness guys, put in the reps. It's not just curling the dumbbells and hitting the bike or going for a run. It's audiobooks, podcasts, conferences, right? It's putting in those reps as well as the health, the fitness, your kitchen. It all gets tied in together.
Yeah. How do you feel about your network? How important is network?
Dude, I hate to use it's gotten a little cheesy, but your network is your net worth. It's huge. I mean, I've got connection. I've been on LinkedIn since it was founded. I mean, this before social media was a thing. I mean, granted, when I was firefighting, those guys didn't care what the hell LinkedIn was, but it was only a couple year adventure. So I kept that network going.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got back to quote unquote normal civilization here in the East Coast, it helped me out.
Yeah.
So your network is important because, there's a lot of classic quotes out there. Jim Rohn, you're the sum, or I like to say the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So look at that from a friendship level, a family level, a professional level, especially professional.
Yeah.
And it's the people you're following online. Like, if you're afraid to unfriend them, then unfollow them. I don't have time for all this negative juju coming through this, all the social media portals. I'm like, literally during the past couple of years, I lost track of how many I started going, unfollow. Like, hey, I'm not going to unfriend you because, like, I still like you, but I don't have time for your news feed and my news feed.
Yeah. Or to listen to you just talk about jibber jabber. Yeah. Like, it's just, it's so crazy. And a lot of people, like right now, I remember I would hear, you're going to see people kind of fall away from you over time.
And it's okay.
It is okay. Especially when you've given your people, especially that you're connected to, you've given them every opportunity to grow with you. Right. Mm-hmm. At least like this is one thing that I was extremely adamant about, like giving the opportunity to everybody, giving, the connections, giving, the opportunity for work, giving the opportunity to connect with people. And then it's what you do with it that's up to you. Yeah. Right. Like, and I say this with great pride. I take pride in my network. When you have a digital footprint, and it goes from, my digital footprint goes from Cali from coast to coast. And I did have shiny object syndrome in the beginning. I would see people with the Lambo or the car or this, and I'd be like, oh, I want to know what that guy does. Completely, like you get through the topical bullshit over time. And when you get to the people who really matter and the people who really care, and they hold you accountable to a standard, right?
Yeah.
For doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. About, like, we talk about, there's words like work ethic and drive and grit and resilience. Like, that's a standard for the people in my network.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, here, even you, I when I see you working on your house, my wife wanted a farmhouse. Like, we bought this great farm. I fucking hate doing farm. I do not, and I still, till this day, I'll admit it. I don't like doing shit like this. I don't. But and she'll break my balls. She's the first one to break my balls, and she'll be like, "You don't want to take care of your house?" And I'm just like, "Okay, come on."
My wife called me out on that before she became my wife. When we were dating, I didn't want to help her fix her house up because I spent my whole childhood growing up on a farm and busting my butt. And I had 3 jobs into my 20s and I just worked. So I was like, no, I don't want it. And now, this new house that we have, it's like, yeah, that's all I'm posting. People are
Yeah,
like, dude, when are you going to not work on your property? And I was like, well, it's more than I've ever had. It holds a close place in my heart. It's a representation of the hard work, the success. And then, yeah, I never planned on sharing that stuff on social media. And then I got people like you, like, dude, keep it coming, man. You're making
yeah,
me feel bad.
yeah. I feel like I
So
got to go do something out back.
yeah, it's like, okay, motivation, inspiration, it's not always the professional demographic. What if it can also help us balance our personal lives too? I mean, it's like my podcast, like Live the Fuel. We fuel your health, business, and lifestyle because health comes first.
Right.
And then the business definitely has to come into play. Whether you got a job or got a business, you got to make money. But that if in the end your lifestyle benefits from it, I tried to really simplify things over the years with myself, and hopefully if I can give back in my audience the same way like you're doing with your following and your teams. And it's like, dude, leveling up, having the right people, having those people hold you accountable too, but in a positive mindset. There's too much negative crap out there. The negative news networks, all that stuff. No, no. That's where events like you're about to launch this weekend, I'm pumped. Besides the fact that when I looked at the branding, it made me think of my childhood and G.I. Joe. Is that part of the branding? Dude,
Absolutely. I'm a G.I.
all
Joe
right.
freak, man.
I had to bring that up on the
For
live because
sure.
I used to have G.I. Joe versus Cobra battles with my younger brother all the time. So,
All the time.
yeah.
Man, I was a G.I. Joe fanatic. I remember I used to have like war rooms set up in my
Yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, and
As a
you could
sales and
not touch
marketing
anything.
professional, that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, yeah, we got some GI Joe conversations going on here.
There's definitely G.I. Joe coming through this head.
But
Um,
dude, we can do this all night. We do
yeah,
have to do more connectivity, more podcasts. But this
for
event,
sure.
you've been
Yeah,
hustling. You're bringing
yeah,
on amazing speakers. You're coming into the valley. Oh, you're from the valley, so you're going to do it in the valley. It's going to be downtown Allentown, Renaissance
yeah.
Hotel. What's some other like fun little things we could share? Because we're in the countdown. Are we at 72 hours yet or no?
No. So it's on Saturday.
Yeah,
So
Saturday.
tomorrow would be 72 hours.
Okay.
Got some great speakers. I got my brother Dale Betty, who is a first form elite athlete coming in from Kentucky. He is going to be talking about the physical. This guy has an amazing story. He was severely overweight. He was drinking. Just I'm going to let him tell his story. I don't want to take anything away from him, but he has an amazing story about resilience, about getting your health back. So he's going to be the physical pillar that we're going to talk about. Wesley Morris, Allentown-based guy, grew up in Saucon Valley. He's going to be the mental. He was a homeless heroin addict selling dollar bottled waters in the middle of downtown Philly. I think it was like almost 9 years ago. And now he's an inspirational speaker. He's been speaking all over the country. He just did a run. He did a fundraiser and he drove his bicycle from Allentown to North Carolina to raise money for these kids, these
As
homeless
a
kids.
cyclist, I already love him.
Yeah,
So
amazing guy, Wesley. So he's going to be talking about the mental. We have my brother Anthony, who is a pastor down in Virginia. He's flying up from Virginia. Him and his wife, they have a church down in Virginia. They're going to be talking about the spiritual. My brother, Jonathan Hagerbaum, he's going to be talking about your energy and like how your energy and your attitude, where you have complete control over it to change your attitude and to change your mindset. My partner, Whitney, who's been, and let me just quick stop and talk about Whitney. Whitney, I met her through First Form, and she absolutely helped me when I was on the phone call. I was on a phone call with her husband. So Jonathan and Whitney are husband and wife, and they just both were my best hype men and women. Like, you should be doing this. Like, why are you not doing it? So big shout out to Whitney for even just kind of getting my head to where it needed to be for this. She's going to be talking about, again, mental toughness, because we both have a pretty cool story about adversity. And one thing that you can see is it's a common thread with all of these people. Oh, and Carmen Donchez, she's going to be talking about financial. She used to work with First United Land Transfer. Now she's with Guild Mortgage.
Nice.
She's in the mortgage industry. She was a borderline bankrupt, so she knows what it means to be at rock bottom financially. She's going to teach some really good basic financial tools that you could do to kind of get your financial fitness back on track. And then I'm going to close by closing the loop on how you put all of these together.
Smart.
But more importantly, what happens when you're consistent with these actions over time.
Yeah.
We have an amazing lineup of speakers, but the one thing that is consistent with all of us, every single one of us came from the bottom.
Yep.
Every single one
somewhere.
of us. We all had adversity and challenges that we went through, but we didn't let that mold us into the person who we are. We let that fuel our fire. We let that be the energy that got us to work harder, to push harder, to be better fathers, to be better brothers, to be better leaders, to be better mentors.
That's
an amazing
what I
lineup.
was loving about this too, is that it's all about those backstories. Like, not everybody understands the power of an event. And I always want to warn people. I was guilty of this too. I'd go to these big professional development events, like I've done some big events, like Tony Robbins, like
Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, all that. Yeah.
You come off of that stuff so high. So I always warn people, even your event, I know people are going to leave there high and ready to conquer the world, but you got to have a game plan. And I looked at your background at this event, and I saw what you were spelling out, and then you and I chatted earlier today, and I was like, dude, all right, because when you walk away, it's going to fizzle. And that's that point earlier in this live call where you can hit all the motivation quotes you want and all the motivation videos, but you need that's the short term. But now you need the repetitive refueling, right? That's my brand, fuel. But it's like, dude, how do I keep fueling it up? And how do I keep that inspiration flowing? And that's what I love about this is you're laying it all out. You're giving people game plan. If they want it and they're ready to use it, it's going to be there when they leave on Saturday. And then obviously the fact you're also benefiting a huge charitable initiative on the back end that nobody knows yet, but I'm excited by that surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're doing things right.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because you've been to events. And for me, when I hear a speaker, I know I used to go to the events and I would try to get like the pen to paper moments, right? And I would try to write down all of those little nuggets. But something happens when you're taking your attention off of the speaker and you're going to write it down. So we thought about this, and it takes me a while to learn shit. Like, I got to do dribble drills. A lot of people don't know this about me, but like if I got to learn something new, like we have this new CRM that we're putting in at the spa, and I literally have to fucking shut everything off, and I'm just like super focused trying to just get this to understand, because my wife's going to hold me accountable if I don't get my shit right. So like it's hard for me to learn new things, right? So I thought about that, and I thought about most people really don't have the ability to take and learn and grow. So we've put together what we're calling the playbook.
Yeah.
And this playbook, after each speaker gets up, we're going to stop. I'm going to get up on stage. We're going to have a pen to paper moment. We're going to make sure that they understood everything, whatever those takeaways that speaker was trying to get out. Now write it down. I want to make sure that you write down, so when you go home and you rewind the tape and you're looking at it, you're going to know exactly what the freaking point of that topic was.
Dude,
like, we're going to give you the playbook. All you got to do when you're done is run the play.
it's so huge because I can align with you once again. Like again, farm kid, and then I saw corporate dreams, and then I'm like, okay, but I thought I had to go to college because no one in my family had a college background. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I tried going to the original Penn State Allentown, which is now like 5 minutes down the road from my new house, which is not far from you if you
Right.
know the original Penn State. And I tried being an engineer, and then I realized I had no money. So then I tried working full time, doing the engineer classes, and then I didn't have focus. I wasn't learning things the right way. I took time off, then chased corporate promotions, money, realizing I wasn't happy. Went back to school again, went back to Northampton Community College, then went to the sales university, and then I dual majored after multiple changes in my adult years into marketing and psychology, which is funny because now I'm a high level sales marketing consultant. The schooling has nothing to do with that. The dual major in psychology, when you spelled that out just now, there's three types of learners. I'll never forget. That's what I love about science: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So yes, the visual, right, the listening, and then actively engaging. You got to hit on all three. It's called the VAC method. Granted, I graduated before I left for fire years ago, so the fact I'll never forget that, you're hitting on it.
Yeah.
You gotta adapt to the entire audience. Some people, they can hear every single thing that speaker says, and they'll blatantly memorize it. They're amazing. But I'm like you, dude. Sometimes I got to get engaged and cut things out and focus. So that's really, really, really smart for this event.
Yeah. And that was a big part. You're going to be able to just run the play, and it's going to be good for people. So think personal development, Lincoln Logs. This is what I keep talking about. It's Lincoln Logs. It's the basics, but it's also going to be a refresher for the people who may had some certain level of success that maybe they stopped taking care of their. Matter of fact, we had a rep come in, the regional rep today for one of our products came into the spot today. We had a meeting with them, and all of a sudden I go into coach mode because the guy mentioned something about, you lift weights. We get this all the time, like, oh, you look like you lift weights. And I was like, well, what about you? And we literally had a coaching moment. I'm like, well, let's talk about sales. You run a sales organization, right? He's like, yeah. I go, don't you think it's important that you're taking care of your health? You're selling an aesthetic and a health product. We literally went into this 15-minute ramp about accountability for leaderships being able to take care of their body so they can manage their team properly.
Yeah.
And he left and he was just like, I needed to hear that today. I can't even
and we all need that. Sometimes
yeah.
we need a kick in the pants. So, I mean,
that's
to
what this is going
align
to
with
serve.
you on that, my schedule's been crazy. And before we started this live, I told you earlier today that I wanted to step up and try and help somebody who maybe is not in that position yet, to help, because it's like $200 for the event, right? So I'm gonna make sure it comes out in the live here that I already told you I want to sponsor somebody. So
Appreciate that.
live. I'm held accountable now. So there is a ticket covered by me for this Saturday's event. I know you've had some people reach out saying, man, I really need to come. I could really use this. I think some of your posse already stepped up and sponsored those people. So anybody watching this who's struggling right now financially, I'm lucky enough that I'm not, dick in the dirt, pardon the term, but I'm like, I'm good. I'm not, some multimillionaire, but we're good. I can help step up. And then I moved the schedule around today. So I'm coming on Saturday. So I'm buying a ticket tonight. So
outstanding.
Because
that's great.
I love how you talk about the Lincoln Logs, the 101, but I just want to let people know, dude, I've gone to some much more expensive events. And it's not always about the dollar, but every so often it's nice to have a little refresher. But also I'm like, yo, it's local. It's my backyard.
Right here.
I got a Lehigh Valley dude trying to hustle and help people. And I was like, I need to be a part of that. So I have another event literally later that evening. I already told my wife, I was like, don't worry, we'll be done in time. I'll come home, we'll shower, reset, suit up, and go to that too. It's going to be a hell of a day for me on Saturday, but I'm in, I'm there.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. You're going to meet some great people. It's going to be, Scott, that's awesome, bro. You're going to love it.
I want to do this for the live feed.
Okay.
If you don't has everybody been taken care of so far that was trying to get in? And
we actually literally, my sister called me literally after we spoke today, and she was like, hey, I know that you said that there was going to be some sponsorship opportunities. I do have someone. I already know who the person is.
Cool.
I know who, I have the perfect person for you, and I will introduce you to her this Saturday.
All right, so let's take
100%.
It's your event, so you let me know
how,
if I should just order 2 tickets and they set it aside. We'll talk about that offline because I want to make sure this stays valuable. But I'm excited, dude. I mean, our own backyard, downtown Allentown, helping people find a way to level up in life. And you guys aren't trying to make money. You're trying to give back. The proceeds are benefiting a local Lehigh Valley charity, people. I
Yeah.
mean, again, you can't tell anybody who it is yet because it's going to be a surprise. But
Yep. It's going to be a surprise.
yeah,
And Scott, I have a vision for this. Like, I see us doing this in the PPL one day.
yeah.
I see us doing this in the PPL center,
Oh,
main
yeah.
stage, getting some like really big people to back behind us. We're bringing it back to Allentown. We are bringing it back home.
Dude,
We are
there's no
bringing this back
excuse.
home.
In less than 2 hours, you could be in multiple major cities: New York City, Philadelphia. Like we're a hub. I mean, everybody knows if you're from the Lehigh Valley, with the growth of just warehousing and distribution, we literally are a
Yeah,
hub
yeah,
for food and everything else. Everything comes out of Lehigh Valley for the entire Northeast
for
nowadays. But
sure.
we're more than that. We're more than that.
Yeah, Scott, man, I appreciate this, bro. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you plugged me into doing this. Thanks for doing the technology, kind of doing the flipping back and forth.
Right.
And
So this was the third try or the fourth try?
fourth
This
try.
is the See,
No, hold
mindset,
on.
dude. You never give up.
It was the fifth try because I tried it once when you were trying to call. I was like, hold on, I'm going to
Okay.
do this, get this
Yeah,
started up
there you
again.
go. See, you
Yeah,
just got to keep going. Just
you
keep
just
putting
keep
in the
going.
reps. So,
Just
well,
not stop.
dude, this has been a great live. I know you got family time and everything else to take care of. I'm at my hotel, so I probably should go have dinner or something. Uh, is there anything else you wanted to share on the live feed for both of
No,
our friendship circles in the Facebook world?
no. If you know someone that needs to get a jump start on their life that may be in a rut mentally, and I really want to focus on the mental because usually the mental kind of garbage that we feed ourselves, the insecurities, the self-doubt, I can't do it. This isn't for me. I want you to just for once, I just want you to think outside the box and I want you to think, why not you?
Right.
Why can't you do something for yourself? Why can't you do something to take an initiative? Because I promise you, if you can get to this event and you can take one nugget from every speaker. I don't care if you take one nugget from the whole event. That's going to help you and that's going to put you in a better position so you can be a better person. You could be a better version of
Mhm.
yourself. And I'm going to speak to a lot of people out there, whether you're a father or a mother, whether you're a husband or a wife, whether you're a brother or a sister, whether you're a leader, this is for everyone. Everyone will be able to benefit from this. And the end result, you get better. And the byproduct that we're going to do is we're going to give back to a local nonprofit here in Allentown. And this is going to be every year. Like this isn't a once and done thing, but come just step outside of the box. I remember the first time that I stepped outside of the box, and I promise you, I will bet on myself every time, the same way I want you to bet on yourself every time, because we are going to give you the playbook, and all you have to do is just run the play.
I love it, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank
This
you.
is the hardest thing for event management, by the way, is you just got to get the first one going.
Yeah,
Now you build the posse, you build the support, and you keep it going. You stay fresh, you stay innovative. You got a Mike Mack on the feed here. Let's go.
Big Mike.
Well, he's so
Yeah, he's another man. He's going to be out there. Mike's a great dude. He's been a servant leader for Allentown School District for 15 plus years.
sweet.
So Mike, yeah, he'll be out
That's
there.
awesome.
Scott,
Well,
thanks, bro.
listen, let's end this feed.
Yep.
I'll give you a holler back just to talk about the logistics offline. Again, so we've got one sponsorship covered. I just got DM'd by a buddy of mine. We've got a second sponsorship ready to be covered. So,
Thank you.
so the challenge on this live feed is anybody who sees that, hopefully we don't get bombarded, but you've already got the first one that I've got covered, and then we've got another one pending. So my challenge to that person is if you're in my posse, you got to step up and DM Brad directly because you got to show the hustle. And if you're in Brad's feed, DM me and I'll reach out to Brad and we'll get that going. It'd be cool to see if we get that person sponsored before the end of the day today. So I
Absolutely.
like to throw challenges out there.
I love it. I love it, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
This is going to be good. I can't wait to see you on Saturday, brother.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome, dude. All right.
Thank you.
Great live. Everybody's got lives. Anybody who stayed on this long, thank you for honoring us with your attention. And if you're in the Greater Lehigh Valley or you feel like coming out to Allentown this weekend, paying us a visit, Renaissance Hotel, downtown Allentown. The link is in my post. Click on it, score your ticket, and come out and join other people who want to level up in life and surround yourself with the right mindset. I love events like this. It's going to be awesome.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate you, brother.
All
Thank
right,
you.
gang.
We'll see
Have
you.
a great night.
Peace out.